I'm not entirely satisfied with Moe's answer, but I don't pressure him. This man, with the beauty of an Adonis and the serenity of a Buddha, clearly knows something I don't. There's no doubt in my mind that he lives by a philosophy far more enlightened than mine. Until I met Father Michael just a few weeks ago, my life was a mess. Thanks to his unique insights, my life is now taking off. Who am I to judge Moe's way of life? Yes, his approach is very unique, but if all of us only lived by the conventional thinking of the majority, our society would still be stuck in the dark ages. Progress comes precisely from the bold and fresh thinking of visionaries in our world. And above all, what Moe is teaching me makes a lot of sense. I've shared a ton of knowledge with you today. I hope it helps, Moe said, but we'll have a lot to discuss in the coming month. And while you're here, you'll stay in my guest house. Guest house? I wondered, seeing no other structure on the beach besides his hut. Yes, it's over there, Moe replied, pointing to an old wooden-framed bed directly behind his castle. You'll sleep under the stars during your time in Hawaii. It will be incredibly wonderful for you. Having said that, Moe walked down to the beach, grabbed his surfboard, and plunged into the waves. Chapter 8, Entering the Realm of Mystery. What never returns is what makes life sweet. Emily Dickinson. As Moe and I ate breakfast of papaya and oranges on the sand the next morning, I felt incredibly curious. So I asked him to share some details on the topic of emotion. My life transformed when I started following my heart, he began. Following your heart is crucial because it contains a higher intelligence than the intelligence in your head. Accessing the knowledge of the heart connects you to the greater knowledge of the world and opens the door to the heart of the universe. I don't mean to sound mystical, but that's what feels right to me. I completely trust the knowledge my heart gives me, so I need to live by my heart. Oh, actually, it's a balance, a partnership. To live your highest life, or I could say your best life, the secret is to have your heart and mind combine in harmony. Some people live entirely by their hearts. It's purely sentiment and emotion. These people often get into trouble in the real world, no different from lovesick fools with poor judgment who are out of touch with reality. Others live entirely by their heads. They are too rational and logical, leaving no room for intuition and passion to guide them. Like the character Spock from the Star Trek TV series. Exactly, Jack, that's a very apt example. And like Spock, such individuals are as cold as stone. I believe life is about balance, allowing the mind and heart to combine into a duo or partners. Live wisely but kindly, romantically but practically, courageously but thoughtfully, responsibly yet passionately. Achieving this balance takes effort and time. I myself still struggle with this many days, but with commitment, I've experienced a love for life itself. Honestly, Moe, I said, looking down at the sand, a flood of regret washing over me, I feel unhappy that it took me so many years. Don't blame yourself, Jack. As I told you before, you are exactly where you need to be. Don't doubt your path and enjoy where you've arrived. Everything that happens to you along the way is inevitable. The key here is acceptance. This is a special moment in your life. Enjoy it. You are reclaiming your original life, the life that mattered to you before other things intervened. Suddenly, Moe's face broke into a wide grin. It's time for you to reclaim the joys of life, he said. When I was a child, my parents used to tell me my eyes shone. They told me there was actually a sparkle in my eyes. Now I see what they meant. A child at play always has shining eyes. Oh, I used to be a very energetic child too. I want you to reclaim that sparkle, and when you do, your heart will open wider and begin to tell you its truth. I really hope that happens, Moe. It will happen. My advice to you is to start doing the things that make you happiest. Pursue your happiness and start doing the things that once made your heart sing. As we grow up, we lose the ability to see the things that once excited us. I can't even remember what my passions were anymore, I admitted sadly. That's okay, they'll find you again once you start looking for them, Moe comforted me. Ask yourself questions, because creative self-inquiry will evoke many of the answers you're seeking. Ask yourself questions like, what did I do before that made me feel good about myself? Or, if I didn't have to work, how would I spend my time? And I also suggest you start listening more. Listen to what? Listen to the very quiet inner calls. Pay more attention to the silent and gentle reminders arising from the deepest parts of you. They are always there. They have a voice, and they demand to be heard. You knew them when you were a child. Recognize them again as an adult. I've strayed so far from this that I fear I've lost any connection to this deeper part of myself. I know I've been closed off and I truly live by reason, but I'm ready to start listening to these inner calls you speak of. Excellent, Moe replied. The intention to start listening to your heart is a big step towards opening it and benefiting from the great gifts it will have for you. Intentions alone are like great waves sweeping through the universe, and inevitably they will return, bringing wonderful gifts. Just keep listening and observing. Jack, remember that our hearts speak to us in the quiet spaces of our lives. Take time to sit back and reflect on things. And trust that the changes you desire will appear in your life when the time is right. The universe is a friendly place, I added, repeating what had become a mantra for me as I stepped into the unknown waters of my life. Oh, you're getting it, my friend. Remember to trust that it will be okay. No matter what happens, your new reality will move towards you. It's like what the Sufi poet Rumi said many years ago: knock, and the joy within will eventually open the window and look out to see who's there. These reminders will lead you in certain directions. They are the voice of your heart guiding you towards your destiny. Be brave and step into the mystery of your life, and you will move steadily along your path. Step into the mystery? That's a great way of putting it, Moe. I've found in my life that the only thing you can expect in life is the unexpected. The magic of your life will appear when you dare to step into its mystery. We all need to spend more time in the miraculous world our lives are meant to be. I love T.H. Huxley's quote on this. Sit down before fact as a little child, be prepared to give up every preconceived notion, follow humbly wherever and to whatever abysses nature may lead you, or you shall learn nothing. Having said that, Moe sat down on the beach and gestured for me to follow him. He began building a sandcastle with watchtowers and a drawbridge. He worked in silence for a while. Finally, he continued our discussion. Our hearts want us to be free, he said as he put the finishing touches on his artwork. One of the greatest desires of our heart is for us to be explorers, journeying through life with a sense of wonder and awe. But that won't happen if we close ourselves off to life's possibilities. We really need to give up all our preconceived notions about what our lives should be like and what we think will make us happy. I truly strive to humbly go wherever and to whatever nature leads me. Who am I to decide my own life? That's a very profound way of putting it, Moe. You've clearly given this topic a lot of thought. More emotion, actually, Moe replied. An even more profound quote on this point is from Albert Einstein, who once remarked, "The most beautiful thing we can experience is the mysterious. It is the source of all true art and science. He to whom this emotion is a stranger, who can no longer pause to wonder and stand wrapped in awe, is as good as dead. His eyes are closed." So we live most fully when we live with a sense of wonder and awe. That sounds like a very free way of life, I said. Just open myself to its mysteries. I think I can do that. This way of operating as a human being will sometimes create fear. That's very natural. But feel those fears and do it anyway. Just embrace your fear and let it wash over you. Eventually, it will pass. This is the real key here. For your life to be more wonderful, your faith must be greater than your fear. Only when you have faith in the reality that, as you said, the universe is a very friendly place, and that it is far greater than all the fears that bind you, only then will your brightest life speak. Your faith in the reality that this world cares about you, but often sends miracles disguised as challenges, must be far greater than the fear that those challenges will destroy your life. Your faith in the intelligence of the universe must be far greater than the fears that you are alone. There is a much bigger plan unfolding, and you must believe in it. Once you do, the happiness of your life will be allowed to manifest. Moe scratched his belly and stretched. By the way, circling back to my point about rediscovering your passions, he said, when we grow up in environments where there isn't much personal autonomy, in other words, when we are told what to do, we lose touch with the true desires of our hearts. We lose connection with our interests and the things that make our hearts sing. We lose our sense of what we love, and then we become adults who don't know what their true desires are. As a result, we don't know how to make our hearts sing and enjoy the experience of living fully. And so our true passions are buried within us. Buried? Yes, I don't know if you understand this, but the venerable painter James McNeill Whistler once studied at West Point Military Academy. While in an engineering class, the instructor told the students to draw a picture depicting a bridge. Whistler drew a beautiful stone arch bridge and added 2 boys happily fishing on it. The instructor, seeing the 2 children in the drawing, became annoyed and testily told Whistler to erase them from the bridge. Whistler redrew the sketch, this time with the 2 children sitting on the riverbank. The instructor became even more displeased and yelled at Whistler to erase the children from the drawing. Whistler complied, but in the final sketch, he included the image of the 2 boys again, but with a detail that made the instructor shudder. What did Whistler do? He drew 2 small gravestones on the riverbank, with the names of the 2 children on them. Ah, I understand the hidden meaning, I said. When we lose our connection with our hearts, we also lose our connection with the flexible child within us. Exactly, Jack, and it takes a lot of practice to reconnect with the things we once lost, to restore our childlike sharpness. And the truth is, it takes a lot of effort to know again who we truly are. How to put in that effort is an inner improvement. Start by daily reflecting on the things that make you happy. For example, what goals fill you with energy and make you smile? Write it all down, because putting your reflections on paper deepens your understanding of them. These are the desires of the heart that need to be fulfilled if you want to create an extraordinary life. To quote Joseph Campbell, if you follow your bliss, you put yourself on a kind of track that has been there all the while, waiting for you, and the life that you ought to be living is the life you are living. When you can see that, you begin to meet people who are in your field of bliss, and they open doors for you. I say, follow your bliss and don't be afraid, and doors will open where you didn't know they would. What a profound way of putting it, I remarked. Exactly. When you pursue the desires of your heart and listen to the longings of your true self, many possibilities will open up, and you will cross a threshold into an entirely new reality. Meaningful coincidences will start to happen. For example, the right job for you will come at the right time. You will seemingly miraculously attract the right people and the best opportunities into your life. But these are nothing more than affirmations from the world that you are now on your right path. As Moe spoke, a strong wave crashed against the rocky shore, drenching us with the ocean's freshness. I felt discomfort rather than exhilaration, but Moe burst into laughter. Amazing, more, he shouted at the ocean, as if out of his mind. Then he continued to share. It's also really important to stop the struggle, he noted. What do you mean by that? I asked. Stop struggling and start living. Struggle fosters stress, and stress is a major barrier to living easily, comfortably, and smoothly, the states you need to live in to attract the best life to yourself. When I was still in business, all I saw were people struggling, pushing, and scrambling. We're doing too much and not having enough time for living. The laws of nature don't work that way. To grow a flower doesn't require struggle or scrambling, it just happens. It's a lovely natural progression. Trying to force a flower to grow is like killing it, and that's exactly what we tend to do in our lives. You can't force the ocean, Jack. You need to let it flow naturally. And if you don't understand this and you continue to struggle, you're basically going against the laws of nature. Live with a peaceful attitude, accepting what life has to offer you. Don't resist your life, making your happiness dependent on everything being a certain way. That's the path to mastery, completely detached from all outcomes. Don't let the best moments of your life escape you. Escape the struggle and tap into the energy that truly controls the world. The same energy that created that mighty ocean out there also created you. So instead of resisting it, merge with it. Stop trying to maneuver to get what you want in life. One of the paradoxes of the world is that the things you chase will never come to you. The less you worry about how your life unfolds, the smoother your life will go. Yes, Moe, I understand. I guess I need to stop living the frantic life I've been living. I need to get out of struggling with it and just adapt to what's happening, understanding that I am exactly where I need to be. I guess what you're really telling me is that I need to stop trying to control my life and just go with it, trusting that no matter how it is right now, it's part of a bigger plan for me. Exactly. Your life, my life, everyone's life is beautiful. We just don't know how to create the time to appreciate it. That's why it's so important to slow down. Why are we always rushing? Where are we running to? I never really thought about this, but you're right. Just a few weeks ago, my life was nothing more than a long race. The funniest thing is I started to realize I didn't even know where the finish line was. I was racing for the sake of racing. Maybe I was trying to appear busy to be considered important. Moe nodded. That's probably part of the problem. I think I was doing that to complete my ego and fill one of those inner voids you spoke about. Very possibly, but the real issue, Jack, is to enjoy the process, the wonderful unfolding of your life. Be more present in your life. Express yourself more fully and enjoy every moment. That's what truly matters. The journey is always better than the destination, Moe said. He's right. Life is a series of moments. If I miss them, I'll miss my whole life. It's time for me to change completely. Now, when I need to change myself as a person, I shouldn't try too hard and rush too much to change as quickly as possible, should I? That's a very good question. I'll ask again, how is it fast? Life is a process, Jack, and it's full of paradoxes. Here's another paradox. When you go too fast, you actually slow down your process. Father Michael taught me the exact same thing. Well, he's right. Trying to force your personal transformation will set you back. You need to give your knowledge room to breathe, to learn, to follow, and then to live. That's the path of the master. Learn, follow, and then live. Is that a three-step process to achieve mastery when learning any skill, especially the skill of living a life based on loving your journey and living fully in every moment? First, you learn what you need to learn, which can be accomplished by reading the right books on the skill you want to master. Then, you need to let the knowledge settle and seep into your life. This happens by experiencing what you've learned in the daily laboratory of life. That's the practice part of the formula. Once that happens, and it can take a long time, you will eventually reach the living part of your life. That's where masters live. They don't try to live, they just live. And they don't try to be fully present, they just live. You have really interesting ideas, Moe. Profoundly simple in many respects and simply profound. I'll tell you another way to express what I just taught you. There are 4 stages a person must go through when transitioning from living as a novice to living as a master. The first is the stage of unconscious incompetence. Sadly, this is the stage where most of us live our lives. In this initial stage, we don't know what we don't know. We are unconscious. We are vague about who we truly are and what our lives are about. But once we open our eyes and wake up by taking responsibility for our lives and creating our destiny, we move to stage 2, conscious incompetence. Here, we develop an awareness of what we don't know. In other words, we become conscious of our incompetence in how we live our lives, right? Precisely. Once here, if we remain aware and continue to improve our inner selves, we move to the next stage, conscious competence. This stage is characterized by wonderful results starting to appear in life. We actively create an extraordinary existence. The only problem is we are still trying. It's still a struggle, and that fosters pressure, I interjected. Yes, we are consciously good at how we perform our lives. That's a very good place to be, but not a truly great one. We all need to aspire to reach the final and highest stage, unconscious competence. This stage in life is the stage of mastery, and it no longer involves learning or doing more. It's simply living. I understand, I said. I like how you explain this process. So that's the life journey we should all strive for, right? For me, yes. By the way, it's important for you to know, be calm, relax, my friend. Slowly, slowly, the potato ripens, as people here often say. The perfect speed, my son, is to live there. The wise author Richard Bach said that. It's time to live there in your life now. Then Moe went into his castle and served lunch of mackerel sandwiches and fresh fruit. We ate in silence for about an hour, taking in the beauty of this enchanting space and enjoying the sun kissing our faces. Yes, living by reason and detached from your heart is an extremely stressful way of life, my friend, Moe finally spoke, still gazing at the ocean. It's not an elegant way to live. There's an even better way to experience your life path. Perhaps the best way to put it is this: shift from trying to control your life to always being curious about your life. And what does that mean? Instead of trying to know and predict everything, live with curiosity about everything. You don't have to know where you'll be in a year. You don't even have to know what you'll be doing in a month. Let go of the need to know everything and shift to an attitude of curiosity that we all need. Just live in the moment with all the power of your life, and enjoy the gift of the present. The treasures in your life will appear only when you truly open yourself to them. But surely you're not saying I shouldn't do anything at all. I mean, how do we create an extraordinary life without any effort? You can't tell me that setting goals, planning, and striving are wrong, can you? Very good. It's all about balance, isn't it? Everything you mentioned comes from the head, and that's good. Now, for you, it's time to bring your heart along. Stop trying to control your life and the ways of nature. You don't know what's best for you. You really don't know. I guess my intelligence can't be stronger than the intelligence that runs the world, I admitted. Very insightful, Jack, so open yourself even more. There's a world out there far greater than what you know. Live with curiosity, live with awe, live with wonder. I like those words. Start being more aware and conscious, Moe continued. Look for clues, identify patterns, and connect the dots. Look for synchronicity and good fortune. And know that these wonderful coincidences are nothing more than your very best life coming to you. You can train your awareness by paying more attention to what's happening around you. Be more mindful of the dance of life. For example, when you go to work, instead of getting lost in internal monologue, train your mind to detect what's happening in the external world. Pay attention to the color of the sky and the shape of the clouds. Observe the leaves falling from the trees and feel the warm sun caressing your face. Feel your feet making contact with Mother Earth. I even suggest you start paying attention to how your heart beats. By training yourself to be more mindful, you will escape your mind and move into the emotional aspect. You will experience living each day, and you will have more fun. An even more powerful way to escape your mind and enter your heart and body is simply to escape your mind and enter your body. Huh? I asked, utterly confused. One of the most effective ways to escape the mind and all the mental chatter that constantly prevents us from living in the present moment is to spend more time in our own bodies. How do I do this? Pay attention to the sensations in your body, the answer resonated. On days when your mind strongly overwhelms you, ask yourself, how do I feel? What emotions are happening in my body right now? Does my chest feel tight, or do my legs twitch, or does my heart ache? This small but effective technique will immediately help you escape your mind and lead you into your heart. And when you live more from your heart, you'll notice that you're enjoying your life journey. That's also when the struggle ends, isn't it? I added, indeed it is. You really don't have to figure everything out, Jack. That's letting your fears control you. Life is a mystery novel containing the story of your life. What fun is it if you know how it begins and ends before you read the conclusion? What would happen if someone told you the ending of a fascinating new movie before you saw it? I wouldn't be interested anymore. Exactly. As you said, the universe is a very friendly place, and no matter what happens, it's happening for the best. Your destiny will unfold as it must. Enjoy the present. Live fully. Live authentically. Live joyfully. Live from the depths of your heart. Life will take care of itself. That's enough for today's lesson. Let's go surfing. With that, Moe Jackson, the millionaire advertising genius turned surfer, jumped up, grabbed his surfboard, and ran into the sea. Chapter 9: Growing from the Beach. The process of life should be the birth of a soul. This is the highest alchemy, and it proves our presence on earth. This is our inclination and quality. Henry Frederick Amiel. My first 2 weeks living with Moe were the strangest days of my life. We woke early, ate breakfast of fresh fruit, then spent a few hours walking along the beach while he shared his knowledge about opening the heart and feeling love for life. I felt a great affection for this wonderful man. He taught me the ways of the heart and the value of living more joyfully, spontaneously, and vibrantly. I admired what he had done, leaving the material world to pursue his heart's song. And I respected the person he had become, just like Father Michael Moe was gentle, kind, and full of love. One of the best ways I've found to live more from your heart is to change from blaming to loving, Moe began to tell me one morning while sunbathing on the beach. Becoming a more compassionate person will greatly expand your heart. Pay more attention to how you treat others. Spend more time looking at their strengths, not their weaknesses. Remember that at the end of your life, you will never regret having lived as the most compassionate person you knew, or as someone who trusted everyone and gave them unconditional love. In that moment, you can only see that it was the best, most fulfilling thing you did. Be proactive and more conscious in the love and care you give to others. You will strengthen your heart. This is a clear technique to build heart muscles, yet it's easily overlooked. But isn't being more caring living by reason? I asked while cutting a watermelon on a wooden bench in Moe's garden. Very good question. That's both true and false. Being more caring actually happens in the mind, but it helps you build a bridge to emotion. So how can I cultivate an interest in being a more compassionate person? Well, one of the things I often do is reflect on being the compassionate person I want to be. Over time, I've heard a lot about reflection. What is it? I wondered. Reflection is using your mind and its imaginative capacity to create a better inner life, Moe replied. It's about visualizing how you would live in certain situations. Reflection is embellished by imagination. It's nothing more than mental focus associated with the process of personal change. But by doing it regularly, you will actually open new pathways to your wisdom and soften your soul. You will also begin to access the love within yourself. Your goal is to live more compassionately in this world, right? I nodded, yes. Excellent. So when you wake up in the morning, and I want you to try this for the next few days, find a quiet spot along our beach and sit comfortably. Then close your eyes and start breathing deeply. Breathing correctly is living correctly, and slow but deep breathing will help you calm down. It will help you escape your mind and enter your body into your soul, so the chatter of my mind will fade away. Of course. Now, stay with me here, Jack. The more relaxed you are, the more open you will be to suggestions. This is when you can start rewriting how you behave in your life and create a template for being a more compassionate person. In this state, you will almost become an architect creating your ideal blueprint. And once that blueprint is complete, on the canvas of your imagination, the external world can manifest exactly according to your design. That's a very good explanation, Moe. So if I reflect daily and paint pictures of being kinder and more caring in my mind, I can make it real. You can't do otherwise. That's one of the most important laws of nature. Reflect on how you want to treat people in your life, Jack. In fact, see yourself acting more compassionately in difficult situations that often arise. You can also do open-hearted reflections, such as imagining your heart as a blooming flower, and then watch it unfurl and spread its love to the universe. Clearly, performing this exercise daily will help you shift from criticizing and finding fault in those around you to seeing them with their strengths, with kindness and true love. You will be able to recognize their innocence and cherish them for who they truly are. Another important way to open your heart is to help others. This strategy is also just common sense. But what is common sense if not the norm now? Moe commented while adjusting his sunglasses. I agree. I once heard a speaker say that the easiest things to do are also the hardest things not to do. Very true. You can make quantum leaps in your empathy by serving others. You know, the best way to reduce your own suffering is to reduce the suffering of others. The more sincerely you help others, the more your heart will beat to a new rhythm. The more you genuinely intend to uplift their lives to a higher level, the more the world will reward you by uplifting you. It's not difficult. It just requires commitment and understanding how it works. And I emphasize that helping with the expectation of reward is not truly helping. Antoine de Saint-Exupéry rightly remarked when he wrote, "True love begins where nothing is expected in return." Think about that, Jack. When you open your heart to others and sincerely help them, how does that make you feel? I feel very happy, I replied, thinking of those rare occasions in the past when I was more concerned with the happiness of others than my own self-interest. Exactly. Every time you do something good for someone else, and this is really important, you not only improve their life, you also improve your own self-worth. The more you are for others, the better you feel about yourself at a fundamental level. Your self-esteem will increase, and you will feel better about yourself as a person. And at a deep inner level, something will begin to change and grow. Do you know what that is? No. It's your own self-esteem, the love you have for yourself. Moe took a sip from his canteen and offered it to me. Want some? No, thank you, I'm fine. What's mine is yours, Jack, he added. I understood what he meant. I bet you thought I never left this beach, didn't you? Moe asked, changing the subject. I wondered about that, but this is a great place. I wouldn't be surprised if you never left. Well, let me tell you this. Every Friday morning, my friend Samantha stops by in her open-top truck, and we go into town. We spend the rest of the morning cooking at the homeless shelter. It's one of the most important activities in my life. It adds meaning to my life and makes me feel like a contributing member of society. Happiness comes from dedicating your life to helping others. I've read about that concept in many books. But when I started living that way, I realized others are the rent we pay for our existence on this planet. Please remember that, how true it is. I personally believe that helping and being kind to others is the hand that receives, and giving will begin the process of receiving. So when I go home, I need to pay more attention to helping others, I told him. With my friends, I can be more than just a friend and really think about being there for them when they need me most. I can dedicate some time each week to volunteering or serving the community. I can support those I care about in achieving their dreams and living their highest truth without worrying about what I get out of it. I can practice giving by performing kind and loving acts for strangers I meet on the street. It would be fun to pay the toll for the car behind me when crossing the bridge on my way to work every day. It would be great to buy someone a cup of coffee at my regular cafe. It would be enjoyable to share more of myself with those around me. I can let them cut in front of me in traffic and smile more every day. I really feel the value of this, Moe. Those are excellent ideas, especially supporting the dreams of others and doing good deeds for strangers. Doing good things for people every day sounds like a simple strategy, but it's one of the things we all often forget to do. I've always believed that a great life is measured not by decades, but by achievements. But I need to say that the best way I've come to a place where I can express my boundless love for others is to come to a place where I express boundless love for myself. Jack, I promise you that your life will transform to an entirely new place if you practice the art of self-love. I really want to love myself more, I said. So you're saying I can't give love to others if I don't feel true love for myself, right? He nodded. Yes. Self-love is the fuel that drives personal change and helps you become a more compassionate person towards others. In the past few days, I've thought a lot about self-love, Moe. I thought I loved myself, but the deeper I went, the more I realized there are many parts of me that I deny. I think there's a lot of anger within me over some things that have happened in my life. And I'm just now becoming aware of it and how it permeates every interaction I have with others, as well as how I live with myself. Yes, you need to overcome that. Most of us carry anger that we don't even feel and project it into the world, distorting everything we do and who we are. It even draws others into our lives who also express their anger when they interact with us. So you need to let go of the anger that hardens your heart. Then you need to overcome the sadness that follows. Next, you need to overcome the fear and regret, which are the next layers covering your heart. And only then can you find the forgiveness needed to move forward. You know that forgiveness is something you do for yourself, don't you? Is that so? Yes, all your past pains, not yet released, weigh heavily on your shoulders, pulling you down as you try to move on with life. When you undertake the inner work involved in overcoming those pains by feeling your own anger, and then experiencing the sadness that follows to reach forgiveness, you will shed those monkeys on your back once and for all. A terrible burden will be lifted, a new lightness will enter your world, and then you can move forward and bring your light to the world. Remember, you can't take the second step while still having one foot in the first, and being stuck in the wounds of the past is being stuck in the first step. Go deeper, Jack, and release your past. Sooner or later, you'll reach the second step, then the third. Eventually, there will come a day when you return home, and the journey of life will truly be a journey home. Father Michael taught me that, I said. Again, Father Michael is right. I also love what Mark Twain said. Forgiveness is the fragrance the violet sheds on the heel that has crushed it. Moe said and smiled brightly. Oh, that's beautiful, I responded enthusiastically. You see, Jack, forgiveness isn't about condoning what someone did to you in the past. It's about accepting it and realizing that they only hurt you because they were in some state of fear. When I undertake my inner transformation by accepting something that hurt me in my life, I often recite the serenity prayer. It goes like this. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. That's a very progressive way of living. Moe, do you see someone who hurts you as someone living in a state of fear? But I see that as true. In life, you are either in a state of love or in a state of fear, I interjected. Exactly, how do you know that? Father Michael again, right? Still Father Michael, I smiled. Well, he knows what he's talking about. If you don't act out of love for others, and that could be anyone from your mother to a stranger, then you will act out of fear. So someone hurts you because they are afraid at a very deep level. I think an example would help me here, Moe. This is a very subtle concept, and I'm finding it hard to wrap my head around, I admitted, sunbathing with him on the sand. No problem. Suppose you're running a business and one of your employees steals a lot of money from you. Oh, that would be hard to forgive, but he did it out of fear. So why can't you forgive him? How is he acting out of fear, this guy who stole my money? A person either acts out of love or out of fear, isn't that right? Moe asked ironically. Fear doesn't necessarily have to be fear for personal safety. That's one form of fear. There are many other forms that control us at different levels. We can fear being taken advantage of. We can fear being seen as foolish. We can fear being abandoned. We can fear being rootless. We can fear betrayal. So what fear could be motivating this act of theft in my example? I asked, curious about the philosophy I was hearing. It could be the fear of scarcity. Perhaps that person isn't aware that our world is actually incredibly abundant, and its abundance flows into one's life when one lets go of the fear of not having enough. Perhaps he has a deeply rooted belief that he can't live a prosperous life if he works hard and treats people kindly, so he steals your money. Or perhaps he fears he isn't capable enough as a person and as your employee, so he fears being fired. He needs money to feed his family, so he steals your money. His actions are clearly wrong and his behavior is inexcusable, but he is afraid. He is terrified, and this happens at a very deep psychological level. Would you punish a terrified child? No, I don't think so. Well, what would you do? Moe asked. I would give that child love. I would support them, comfort them, and help them. Exactly. And that's what you need to do with the person who stole your money. You forgive him, help him, and show him your love. Show him my love? I asked incredulously. Yes, ideally. And if you can do that, you are operating at an extremely high level of enlightenment and personal power that makes your life truly joyful. In this state, the most magical treasures will find you every day. In the case of our thief, at the very least, you need to forgive him if you want to move forward in your life, to overcome the pain he caused you, accept that it happened, and then release it from your system. To truly move forward, you must let it go and understand that this incident carries with it some corresponding gift. There is an opportunity and a lesson in the pain you suffered. Embrace the lesson and move forward. Life is a school of growth, isn't it? Indeed it is, Moe replied. I need to do more of this letting go you speak of, because I seem to repeat the things others have done to me in the past. It's like an obsession. It drains me and saps my energy. Sometimes I just want to go to sleep and forget all my worries, I confessed honestly. I have a feeling you truly don't know how happy you are, Jack. I advise you to look for the good things in your life. That reminds me of an old proverb. I cried because I had no shoes until I saw a man who had no feet. Those words struck me. I felt emotions rising within me. Our lives can change when we become more aware of all the positive things we live with, Moe continued. When we begin to live with a broader vision and a clearer understanding of truth, yet so few of us truly know the truth about our lives. We get stuck in our own stories. As we just discussed, we get stuck in things that happened to us 1, 2, or 10 years ago. Jack, years ago, I too used to spend whole days worrying about what others did to me. I made mountains out of molehills. I thought about revenge and making those people pay for what they did to me. That's a very petty way to live. I'll tell you that. I was truly very much like you used to be. I did the exact same thing. But I think from now on, I'll rethink everything. Confucius once said, before you embark on a journey of revenge, dig 2 graves. Moe laughed. Too good, Moe? My goodness, we take ourselves so seriously. We're all so self-absorbed that we always consider ourselves the center of the universe. We delude ourselves into believing that our problems are the biggest and only problems in the world. But we're not as important as we think, are we? Stephen Hawking, the great physicist, once said that we live on a very small planet of a medium-sized star located on the outer edge of one of hundreds of billions of galaxies. I really don't see our problems and failures as big at all. We only exist on this planet for a very short time, yet we take it so seriously. Yes, that's right, Moe agreed. We all need to develop a greater appreciation for the gifts in our lives. And by appreciating what's good in our lives, those good things will multiply. How? Think about economics. When something increases in value, for example, your house, what happens to it? To say something increases in value means its price goes up. It becomes more valuable. Right, so it's the same with what you appreciate in your life. If you appreciate the sunrise, it will become an even more valuable part of your life, and you will add more value to it. If you appreciate your friends, their friendship will become more valuable, and that will be even more valuable to you. If you appreciate your health, it will become more valuable in your life, and you will see it as more important. Oh, that's a very clever way of looking at things, I enthusiastically remarked. I suppose the real meaning is this: living in a constant and perpetual state of gratitude will make your life experience more valuable and worthwhile. The way you see the world will change. You will enjoy the small pleasures of life and savor the tiny joys that each day brings. You need to practice gratitude more often. And doing so is another way to expand your heart and appreciate your life. Practicing gratitude every day is practicing love every day. So how can I practice gratitude? I asked. One of the things I do every day is appreciate my food. Before every meal, I silently offer sincere thanks for the meal I'm about to enjoy. I thank the farmers who grew the produce, the fishermen who caught the fish and shrimp, and the merchants for bringing it to market. And I thank the world for giving me the privilege of having food on my table in a world where millions upon millions of people don't have enough to eat. This is a simple act, but it will create very profound changes within you. Trust me on this. Sounds very convincing. I suppose by appreciating your food, you increase its value in your life and you stop taking it for granted, right? Exactly, and by performing this ritual, my heart opens and I see the world as a very beautiful place. As I said before, doing this will help you start to gain the perspective of how truly fortunate you are. Very good, I replied. In this part of the world, we don't really realize how much we are blessed. We don't pay attention to our blessings. Yes, I love making lists of things that make me happy. They help me focus on the good things I have in my life. A happiness list, it's simply a record of everything, no matter how small, that I like about my life. I write down the fact that I live on this beach. I write down the fact that I am very healthy. I write down the fact that I am a good dancer. I record the fact that I go to sleep under the stars every night. And as I said, I remember that I am very fortunate to have food in my stomach every day. And many more things. The simple meaning is this: every single one of us has so much to be grateful for, but most of us pay attention to scarcity rather than abundance. And the interesting thing is, the more we pay attention to what's good about our lives, the more good things we will attract. What other ways can I practice gratitude? I wondered. I strongly recommend that you pray every day. This has nothing to do with religion. It's your personal work. The prayer I'm talking about has everything to do with gratitude. Create a short but heartfelt prayer that expresses your sincere appreciation for everything you have. Say that prayer first thing in the morning and last thing at night. Again, the results you'll see will be very impressive. Moe looked at me for a moment, then continued. Jack, what I'm telling you might sound a little strange, but what's important is that it works. Oh, there are 2 more ways to truly build your own attitude of gratitude. One is to send love letters. But I'm not in love with anyone right now. No need to be in love. These love letters are a different kind. They don't express romantic love, they express human love. Here's an example. Suppose you go out for dinner and the meal is delicious. The next morning, I suggest you send a love letter to the chef, saying how much you enjoyed his meal and praising his excellent talent. He'll feel very happy. And I'll feel great. Exactly. This will increase your self-worth. You'll feel better about yourself and you'll feel happier in life. If you take your car in for service and the mechanic does a very professional job, send a love letter to his boss and tell her how satisfied you were with the service and how much you appreciated the employee's helpfulness. By constantly noticing people, you can send such letters. In fact, I suggest that when you go home, you go out and buy a pack of 100 or even 200 postcards. I always look for cards with nice quotes or inspiring messages on them. When I find ones I like, I buy a lot. Then, whenever someone does something good for me, they get a love letter from me. But you rarely leave this beach, Moe. Well, I've been here with you for the past few weeks because I had a mission to help you, as I promised Kay I would. But generally, every few days, I go into town, and when I go, I'm always looking for opportunities to express my gratitude. You said there was a second way. Yes, the final tool to express gratitude is to give everyone you meet a gift. That's very expensive, I remarked honestly. I don't necessarily mean a formal gift, Moe said. It can be as simple as giving someone you meet a genuine smile. It can mean giving someone a hug or a sincere compliment in a world where we've forgotten the importance of honest praise. You can give someone a fresh flower from your garden or a warm baked cookie you just made. Even listening to someone with complete attention and an open heart is a gift that will move people in ways you can't imagine. Moe moved closer to me. He began to look deeply into my eyes with a gentle smile on his face. He said nothing, just looked into my eyes with complete focus. After a while, something very strange happened. I felt as if something in my chest opened up. I also felt the same sense of comfort and peace that I had felt as a boy when my mother held me before bed. "What are you doing to me?" I asked Moe. "I'm having very strange feelings." "I'm doing what I always try to do when I'm with others, Jack. I'm sending you love. My heart is open, and I'm just appreciating your entire being. My heart is talking to your heart, and you're feeling it. When we interact with others, there's so much more going on beyond our conscious perception." "It's amazing to feel all the affection you're sending me," I replied. "I know," Moe said. "This is the greatest gift I can give you." Then Moe leaned in and hugged me tightly. I noticed his eyes were glistening. "You're a good person, Jack," he said. "I pray that you will grasp all that you are learning and put it into practice. Our world desperately needs more caring, understanding, and compassionate people. You can be a leader for many if you become a role model of these qualities in your own life. That's all I know. Trust the truth that the more love you give to others, the more love you will feel for yourself. And believe that the more you open your heart, the clearer your best life will become before you." Moe began to walk down to the sea, then he dipped one foot into the water before going deeper. A moment later, he was swimming rhythmically, looking towards the horizon. I could hear him laughing and singing loudly as he splashed. As I watched this wise teacher enjoying the gift of the moment, something deep inside me began to change, and for some reason, I started to cry. Chapter 10, Surfing and Self-Love. Only when we forget all our knowledge do we truly begin to understand. Henry David Thoreau. A week later, I was deeper into my soul than ever before. By now, I had seamlessly integrated not only Moe's lessons, but also Father Michael's wisdom, and the changes happening in my life were truly astonishing. The philosophies I learned actually worked. Although some things seemed a little mystical, I could feel myself transforming at a faster rate than I could have imagined. I was truly starting to connect with a higher self and see the world through a new pair of eyes, just as Father Michael had encouraged me to do. Not only that, I felt happier than before, and a sense of peace began to form within me. Love was something I hadn't truly felt before, at least not like this. Now I was experiencing it not in relation to others, although I knew that was coming, but in relation to myself. "You're becoming a good surfer, Jack," Moe told me on the first day of our last week together. He had helped me learn the sport he loved so much, and now he was full of pride for his student. "You're a natural talent, you know." "This has become my passion. I feel like a child when I surf with you. It's so much fun. Thank you so much for teaching me this," I told him. "You're welcome. Before we play with the waves today, I want to talk a little more about self-love. I've shared a lot of knowledge with you over the past 3 weeks, and it's clear that things are really changing for you." "What's happening to me is truly miraculous, Moe. I'm really grateful to you." "You're welcome. That's what I'm here to do. What's your purpose in life if you can't help anyone else, right?" "Yes, by the way, you're doing very well. You can develop self-love," Moe continued, "by skillfully using the language you choose to describe yourself. The vocabulary we use is very important. If you can't speak fluently in your self-talk and choose good words for your inner dialogue, you can't treat others well. The more love you give yourself, the more love you will have available for others. Now that you've learned that, you can't give what you don't have, right?" I agreed, yes. So the key is to remember that you possess love within yourself. Then and only then will you be in a position to give to everyone around you. What I'm saying means be good to yourself, truly good to yourself. Treat yourself as if you are your own greatest hero. And one way to start is to speak kind words to yourself. The words we use have great power, Jack. There's a specific energy associated with every word we use. Really? Yes, everything in this world is energy. Did you study physics in high school? Actually, I did. I took a few science classes because I thought I'd go to medical school. Excellent. So let me ask you, is that board lying there really a board? I felt confused. Well, yes, isn't it? Remember back to the laws of physics. Everything visible to the naked eye is actually energy, I blurted out. Exactly. This board is nothing more than subatomic particles moving at an incredibly fast speed. And those subatomic particles, as any physicist can tell you, are nothing more than energy. In the human eye, your board is a solid object. But it's not. That's the illusion of life. So everything in this world is nothing more than energy, I mused. I know that's true, but it's so easy to forget this reality. You're right. We adopt the illusion that physical objects are what they initially appear to be. Exactly, Moe replied. And the words we choose to use are nothing more than energy, aren't they? Surely. Just as every thought we think is a bundle of energy we send out into the world. The words we speak are messengers. What exactly do you mean? I don't want to get too technical here, but we live in what physicists call a holographic universe. This means that what we send out will come back in a similar form. If we think thoughts of scarcity, for example, we will make our lives more scarce because those thoughts are nothing more than energy and like attracts like. If we think fearful thoughts, fearful situations will appear. That's why the great leader Mahatma Gandhi said, "I will not let anyone walk through my mind with their dirty feet." Can you explain a little more? I requested, feeling very intrigued by this point. Okay, a thought of scarcity, for example. I never have enough money, and it's hard to get rich, has a certain energy, and it has the vibrational speed of the particles that form this thought. I understand. And we know from physics that things vibrating at the same speed attract each other. Yes. So the thoughts you think are actually like magnets attracting into your life the people and events that match them. Are you serious? I asked, stunned by this revelation. Yes, very strange, isn't it? Our thoughts actually form a self-fulfilling prophecy. If we think the world is a place of scarcity, then that is the reality we will create. If we think that we are unlovable and no one would want to live with us if they truly discovered who we are, then we will never find the soulmate we long for. If we believe that life is hard, then the world will send us a truly difficult life. It's very special. So every time I think about what's not working in my life, I'm actually making things worse. Exactly. And every time I focus on what I don't like in my life, I'm actually preventing what I want from manifesting. Precisely. Do you see that our thoughts actually shape our world? What you focus on in your life will grow. What you think about will expand, and what you concentrate on will determine your destiny. This isn't just a bunch of motivational jargon. These words are based on the laws of nature and scientific reality. Isn't this just positive thinking? I thought you told me that positive thinking is essentially unhealthy. Now you're saying it's not. Well, I don't think it's as black and white as you just said, Jack. There's more to it. For example, emotions. Positive thinking is actually unhealthy if it means that instead of acknowledging how you truly feel in a challenging situation, you deny it and force happy thoughts, Moe replied, reiterating what Father Michael had taught me during my time in Rome. He continued, "For mental well-being, we should allow our thoughts to experience all emotions. Doing so is part of accepting and loving all of ourselves. It also helps prevent emotions from adding to the burdens we carry throughout life. Furthermore, diverse emotions help us open doors to greater awareness and provide deeper insights. But once you've fully experienced an emotion to its end, which all emotions have, then there's certainly nothing wrong with looking for the good in the situation. In fact, that's the only wise thing you should do. Why? First, because in every situation, there's always something good. Everything that happens to us carries an opportunity to grow and develop into our best selves. Second, because this is the only way to live a peaceful and happy life. And third, because as I told you, our thoughts are like magnets attracting into our lives the people and circumstances that match them. Focus on the positive, and that's what your life will be like. Train yourself to focus on the positive side of every situation, and it will always be there if you make the effort to find it. Our thoughts shape our world. That's beautiful, and I should also note that the pictures you create in your own inner world cannot help but manifest in your outer world. I call this process externalization. The inside will always become your outside because everything is created twice. The first time in your mind and the second time in reality. Any image you visualize, if focused on daily for a long enough period, will surely appear in your outer world. Imagine yourself as a confident, lovable, and kind person. And that is what you will develop into. Imagine that you are happy, humorous, and abundant with a childlike heart. And that is what you will become. That is a truly great tool that I know will be of immense value to you on the path you are on. Now, Moe, before you delve into this fascinating discussion about the world being nothing but energy and these laws of physics, you mentioned that just as our thoughts shape our world, so do our words. It's important for you to be careful with the words you speak. Not just to others, but to yourself. If you use positive and powerful words, you will become positive and powerful. You will also influence everyone in ways more profound than you can imagine. Then Moe started walking along the beach. It was another beautiful day. The sunlight danced along the shore, creating a magical effect. "Come on, what are you waiting for?" Moe asked, leaving his surfboard on the sand and heading straight for his small hut. "I have something I want to show you." We walked in silence, but a smile spread across Moe's face as he strode along the beach, sometimes in the water, sometimes on the shore, as he approached his chosen destination. I felt a great delight in this simple man. He had little, but he had so much. When we reached Moe's hut, he ducked inside for a moment. "Wait a minute, you're going to like this," he said humorously. Just a few seconds later, Moe emerged, carrying something very peculiar in his hand. It was a surfboard with both ends chopped off. "This used to be my favorite surfboard," he said. "Now it's my word board." "A word board?" I asked, extremely curious. "Here, look at this," he replied, flipping the board over to reveal a series of words hand-carved into the wood. "As I just said, words have power. Use the right words and your life will change. You will have power, your confidence will increase, and you will discover a level of self-love you never knew you had." He pointed at the board. I read these words slowly and loudly every night before bed. This evening exercise expands my heart and connects me to my inner greatness. Here, read. I looked at the words on the board and read each one aloud, slowly and confidently. Harmony, peace, kindness, happiness, joy, wisdom, vitality, truth, love, abundance, forgiveness, balance, courage. Now repeat the last and most important word, Moe said. Love. I tell you, maintain this practice regularly. It will truly transform you. You will feel more love for yourself and others. You will raise your consciousness, and you will continue to expand your heart. This is a very new technique, Moe. I really like it. Who taught it to you? You know, Jack, the more I understand myself, the more I realize that everything I truly need to know to create an extraordinary life is right here, he said, pointing directly to his heart. Of course, as I told you, it's a balance. The mind can give you great insights that empower you and connect the dots along your life's path. But I have to say, it truly doesn't compare to the intelligence and wisdom within your heart. This technique I just shared with you isn't in any book. It came to me one day as I was reflecting on the methods I use to open my heart. You know, the deeper I go into it, and the more love I feel for myself and the world, the more the universe seems to grant me wisdom, truth, and wonderful ideas for an extraordinary life. I can't explain it. It just comes to me like that. I guess there are times when I'm afraid to completely trust my heart, I confessed. I've spent so much of my life trusting what my mind tells me is the right way to think, feel, and act. And did that bring you the life you always wanted, Jack? Did that strategy really deliver on its promise? Not at all, I admitted. Then perhaps it's time for you to put a lot more faith in your heart, Jack. And perhaps what you're doing to expand your heart is exactly what you need to move to the next stage of your path. Well, I understand, I replied. I guess it's just my fear. I don't want to be hurt, and I don't want my life turned upside down. I suppose what I'm really afraid of is making more mistakes. Moe put a hand on my shoulder to comfort me. A mistake is only a mistake if you repeat it, he said. The first time, it's just a good lesson. You know that. Be gentle with yourself. You're doing very well. This is the big issue you're stepping into. Just make sure that the mistakes of the past are nothing more than wonderful gifts that came to you to bring you to where you are right now. Every single challenge you faced in the past was devised by the universe to raise you to a new level of awareness. Failures, struggles, and suffering all help us open up more because that is their purpose in being sent to us. For example, pain is also a gift. I wasn't sure I heard him correctly. Pain is also a gift. Of course it is. It deepens us and introduces us to our true selves. The ancients believed that those who suffered the most in life were the happiest. I can't think why that would be. Because sorrow requires a lot of effort from us, Moe replied, peeling an orange. Really? Yes, it introduces us to the wonder of life that we would otherwise miss. A life without failures is a superficial life. To fully experience your life, you must experience both the highs and the lows. Only then will you truly know what it means to live. Pain isn't a bad thing, you know? In fact, I believe that pain comes to us to elevate our lives to the next level. I've never thought of it that way. And I believe that those who suffer greatly are those who enjoy greater things on this earth. The more suffering a person endures, the clearer their eyes see the truth. You see, Jack, suffering strengthens endurance. Suffering leads to capacity. Suffering deepens us and shows us ourselves. Suffering brings human growth. I like Thomas Carlyle's quote, "Adversity is the diamond dust with which God polishes his jewels." You are a jewel. Every one of us on this planet is a jewel existing for a higher purpose. I wish more people understood this truth. Me too, I replied regretfully. Everything that happens to us is part of a grand design and is raw material for the grinder. It adds color, flavor, and depth to our lives. An easy life is actually a superficial life, and therefore we shouldn't fear adversity, we should embrace it. As Aristotle said, the beauty of the soul shines when a person calmly endures one misfortune after another, not because that person does not feel them, but because he is a great hero. Moe silently looked out at the ocean. All right, back to my advice about loving yourself. Another very good way to truly love yourself is to ensure there are plenty of self-care activities throughout your life. What are self-care activities, Moe? These are things you do to show yourself, to feel how much you love yourself. I'm talking about activities like regular relaxing massages or spending time each week gazing at the twinkling stars in the sky. I'm talking about things like allowing yourself to eat delicious food because that way, your body will always be healthy. And I'm talking about reading only the best books and listening to uplifting music that elevates our spirits. Self-care is one of the main keys to self-love. Moe picked up a few orange slices and offered the rest to me. Here, these are yours. Would you like me to share 5 self-care exercises that I use to keep myself balanced, relaxed, and happy? Of course. First, shift from complexity to simplicity. Please elaborate, I requested. We live in a complex world, and each of us has a complex life. The more we shift from being to doing, the more complex our lives become, leading to disorder, chaos, and stress. Always move towards simplicity. Always ask yourself, how can I make my life simpler? That is an incredibly powerful question. Be wary of anything that appears to make your life more complicated, from a difficult relationship to ordering more newspapers. One of the organizational principles that builds any great life is this: simplify, simplify, and simplify. My life is very simple, Jack, and as a result, it's wonderful. It's very calm and just right, exactly how I like it. No cell phone, no spam, no television, everything is simple. Hearing that gives me a sense of peace, I remarked. When I was working in advertising, I literally planned every minute of my life. I scheduled meeting times and times to complete work projects. I planned when I would take breaks and when I would make phone calls. I planned exact hours to work with my personal trainer and time to connect with my girlfriend. I even planned when I would sleep and eat, hour by hour. Sounds incredibly complex, even by my standards. Incredibly is a very apt word. No free-flowing time? What does that mean? Free-flowing is a state of being where you are aware of the present moment. Every cell in you is engaged in the moment you are living. Look, there's nothing wrong with planning your week. Don't misunderstand me, but don't let your plans dominate you. Everything needs balance, right? Yes, throughout life. Exactly. So make space and plenty of space to enjoy life's precious moments. Take time to savor the simple joys of the world because they last much longer than expensive pleasures. Don't be so busy chasing great joys that you miss the small ones. You know, deep down, I believe most of us don't actually fear death. This surprised me, really. Yes, I believe most of us fear not truly living more than we fear dying. That's very meaningful, I mused in response. Moe continued his lecture on methods to renew and deepen ourselves. The second self-care exercise I encourage you to incorporate into your life is daily journaling. Your life is worth living, isn't it? Of course it is. I feel more confident about that now than ever before. Excellent. And because your life is worth living, it's also worth recording. Every morning before surfing, I spend time writing in my journal. I write about my life story and how it's unfolding. I write about the desires I haven't yet fulfilled and celebrate the victories I've achieved. I write about what makes me happy and what makes me sad. I write about my pain and clearly state the lessons I've learned from what hurt me in the past. There's something very magical about pouring your heart out onto a blank page every morning. It's almost as if I can recreate my life every day and manifest my vision of the ideal life onto the canvas of reality every time the sun rises. It's wonderful to know that each new day carries with it the opportunity to start a brand new life. Do you really believe that, Moe? Yes, I believe it. It doesn't take months or years or even decades to change your life. It happens in an instant. It happens the moment you make a fundamental commitment from the deepest part of yourself that you will no longer accept living mediocrity and you will dedicate all your effort to living the life meant for you. My best life? You understand? I suppose you're right. That choice takes only a second to make. Exactly, Moe agreed. And if it's made from the depths of your heart, something within you will change. You will no longer accept how you are living, and you will automatically raise your life's bar and set a whole new set of standards for yourself. But there's a catch. It only takes a minute to change your life, but it takes months, years, even decades to maintain your best life. It's like in the gym. Once you want your body to be its best, you have to maintain what you've created. I see, so tell me more about writing. I've heard quite a bit about this. It's a great way to explore your deepest places and unleash your highest energies. For example, the act of writing allows me to clear any worries that plague my mind and helps me reach insights that enrich my life. Journaling makes me a clearer thinker and gives me energy as I harmonize my outer life with my inner life. Journaling gives me a place to talk to myself, and in doing so, builds greater self-awareness and creates more self-knowledge. Journaling gives me a means to capture all my ideas and record them for later review. Try it, Jack, and you'll start experiencing the benefits I just mentioned. So I should write down my thoughts. In fact, I suggest you start this habit by taking time each morning to pour your consciousness onto the pages of your journal. Let go of everything that is creating fear and frustration in your life. Pour out everything that's chattering in your mind and release it as a stream of consciousness. Write down all the emotions that come to you. Just start writing and keep writing without lifting your pen from the page, and then stop when you feel clear and liberated. This exercise will work wonders for your peace of mind, for your inner strength, and for the best life you are discovering. That's great. Journaling really sounds interesting, Moe. Exactly. Just start writing down what's happening in your inner world every morning. Write about all your irritations. And once the negatives have been cleared, clearly state the positives in your life and in your very soul. I also suggest that you write about your big dreams and what I call your noble goals. What are noble goals? I like that term. These are the greatest aspirations in your heart, the aspirations that will fuel your growth and shape you. Write about who you are and the kind of person you want to become. Just write freely. As the days go by, you will go deeper. I also recommend that you answer 5 questions in writing each morning. These morning questions will only take a few minutes to answer, but they will help you prepare for great success throughout the day. But what are those questions? The first question is, how would I live today if I knew it was my last day? The second is, what in my life am I grateful for? That's a great one because it helps build an attitude of gratitude, I replied. Exactly. Question 3 is, what can I do today to make my life special? Question 4 is, what can I do to make today truly interesting? And the 5th question is, how can I help someone today? Will this little habit help me? Extremely helpful. Asking yourself these questions and then answering them every morning will connect you to your deepest wisdom, and that wisdom will permeate every remaining minute of your day. You will become better with the people you love and work with, even with strangers on the street. It's a very effective habit. Moe, I hope you don't mind me saying this, but it seems like there's an endless number of things I need to do every day to create my best life. I feel overwhelmed, and how does anyone have enough time to do everything you suggest? I have work, I have friends, I have responsibilities to fulfill, I interjected. These are ideas for you to consider. They are proven and they work. Experiment with each of them. Be open to all the possibilities they offer. And once you've explored each of them, choose the practices that resonate most with you and make them part of your formula for a wonderful life. And that's an extremely important point. To ensure these practices are done regularly, you have to make them a part of your life. You never go to work without showering and shaving, do you? Of course not. That's because those habits have been integrated into your daily routine. They've become conditioned in your life, so they are performed instinctively. You need to do the same with the habits that are most appropriate for you. Yes, that makes a lot of sense, I replied. Moe scratched his bare chest and then yawned. My friend, I feel very relaxed today. Me too. The third self-care exercise I want to share with you is the daily period of peace. You must take time for a quiet period every day. You owe it to yourself. When I was a child, my mother and I used to spend time in the quiet and silence of the forest, just walking. I still remember how happy that made me feel, I recalled. Silence is just that. It's the time you set aside each day, every day, to sit in silence and stillness. Silence is nature's great restorer, opening a space in our lives to connect with our best selves. It is a tonic that heals us and caresses our souls. Spending time in silence every day will strengthen you as a person and bring wonderful results to your life. Immerse yourself in silence every day. You will emerge as a new person with new confidence and higher ideas. Moe ran his fingers through his blonde hair. We live in a world with too much noise and not enough silence. It's very important to take time each day to be silent and still. As Blaise Pascal once wrote, I have discovered that all the unhappiness of men arises from one single fact, that they cannot stay quietly in their own chamber. Very well said, I remarked. The fourth self-care exercise is to commune with nature, Moe continued. By doing so, we can turn our lives inward and connect with what matters most. We will access a greater part of ourselves and connect with the universe. For example, I find that going out into the ocean with just me and my board reminds me that I am never alone. That makes me feel free and open. A life without periodic immersion in nature is only half a life. I really love walking in the forest. I don't know why I stopped that habit. I think because life got busier, I lost such habits. I never really thought they were so important to my happiness. Now I understand. Excellent, Jack. Nature will be a great friend to you, and you deserve such a friend. All right, the fifth self-care exercise is to care for your body. Your body is a temple. It's where your spirit resides. It's your home. To exercise leadership in your life and create the life I know you want, it's essential to treat your body well. When you take care of your body, you take care of your life. Really? Absolutely. By taking care of the physical aspect, you'll make a great investment in the quality and longevity of your life. What good is living long if you don't enjoy it by feeling healthy, strong, and joyful? Very good. So what do you do to take care of your body, Moe? Well, one of the most important things I do is exercise. I run along this beach every morning. I surf all day, and in the afternoon, we usually go for a long walk or do some yoga on top of that cliff over there, he said, pointing to a rocky outcrop that looked to have an impressive view from above. Those who don't take time for exercise will surely have to take time for illness. You know, that point really strikes me. Oh, we don't understand how important it is to maintain good health for creating a beautiful life. When we are young, we sacrifice too much health in pursuit of wealth. And by the time we are old and wiser, we change our attitude. We are willing to sacrifice all our wealth, even for just one healthy day. But by then, it's too late. Don't let that happen to you, Jack. Please understand that having good health is incredibly important. It's an important act in personal leadership, and its benefits will influence many other areas of your life. You will have more energy, your mood will be better, you will be more creative, you will have higher self-esteem, and you will even find that your sleep improves. You're right, Moe, I completely agree with you. On this matter, I promise you, I am committed to maintaining my health. I can truly understand how important this is. I also make sure I only do the best for my body. Good nutrition is incredibly important in creating a magical life. Eating only the best food is a gift I give myself. It's an expression of self-respect. Eating poor quality food is terrible for oneself. I perceive that at a core level, anyone who does this regularly needs to love themselves more. Very meaningful. Surely, if you truly love yourself, how can you eat anything other than delicious food? Eating well is truly a sign of self-respect. It increases self-love. What kind of foods do you usually eat, Moe? Since I've been here, it seems to be all fruit and vegetables. Simple things like fresh produce suit me best. I love fresh fruit, as you know. And on this island, I'm fortunate to have an abundant supply. I eat tons of fruits and vegetables, and I'm a fish lover. Occasionally, I also eat meats, but I try not to overdo anything. Everything must be in balance. Very true, Jack. That's the real key. Oh, and one more thing I do for my body is massage. I have a friend who comes by weekly to give me massages. It keeps my body pliable, increases blood circulation, and helps me stay in top shape. Have you ever had a body massage? My friend, actually never. Try to do it regularly. In fact, I urge you to. You'll find that it helps you relax, energizes you, and generally makes you feel satisfied with yourself. It's another wonderful act of self-love and treating yourself well. After all, life is too short not to give yourself a lot of love. During my last days with Moe, we spent our time talking, surfing, swimming, and playing together. I had never met anyone like Moe Jackson, and I felt that I would never meet anyone else like him again. Both he and Father Michael were true treasures, healthy, wise, and powerful individuals with noble hearts and great spirits. The day I left Hawaii for New York, Moe came to where I was lying on the beach, gazing at the clouds drifting across the clear blue sky. "I'll miss you, Jack," he said. "I'll miss you too, Moe," I replied, feeling a deep sadness in my heart. "All right, my friend, it's time for you to go. Keep in touch. I want to see your star shine. I know you'll do great things and create a truly fascinating life for yourself. And if you feel like spending a week or two surfing, you know my castle is yours," Moe said with a smile. We hugged, and then I began to walk towards the taxi waiting for me at the end of the beach. "Moe," I said, turning back, "thank you for everything. You've been amazing." "You're welcome. Now, if you don't mind, my board and I need a reunion with the waves." With that, the surfer with the soul of a child ran into the sea, chasing his happiness. Chapter 11, The Giver Who Gives Most Wins. I do not know what your destiny will be, but one thing I do know: the only ones among you who will be really happy are those who have sought and found how to serve. Albert Schweitzer. Imagine that your sole purpose in life is your own happiness. Then life becomes something cruel and meaningless. You must strive for what the knowledge of humanity, your wisdom, and your heart tell you, that the meaning of life is to serve the power that brought you into this world. Only then will life be a joy. Leo Tolstoy. There has always been a special place in my heart for New York. It's one of those cities that always stays in my heart no matter where I go. I love the delicious pretzels sold on the streets, along with the hearty hot dogs that saved me quite a bit of money. I relish the massive skyscrapers that give the city its majestic appearance. I like the bustling pace of this dynamic city. It inspires me to dream bigger dreams and take longer strides. I've only been there a few times, but I always feel like returning. The flight from Hawaii was enjoyable. There were only a few of us in first class, and we all became friends as we flew across the Pacific. Once I became quite acquainted with the people in my row, I began to share some of the lessons I had learned over the past 2 months. I told them about my time in Rome with Father Michael, about what he taught me about truly being human. I reiterated his arguments about how the world functions as a school for our growth, and how the challenges we face in life are, in fact, opportunities if we are wise enough to seize them. I discussed the concept of the integrity gap and how we betray ourselves when we are not truly ourselves. And I shared the metaphorical image of stained glass windows and how we apply filters through which we view our world. I also told my new friends about my special friend, Moe Jackson, the eccentric surfer whom I perceived as a master in this era. I revealed what he told me about living emotionally. I also shared his thoughts on the mysteries of life and how he wanted to let go of the control most of us cling to, in order to discover the true treasures that give meaning to our lives. And I also told them about his interesting self-care exercises for transforming ourselves and creating our best selves. "You should write a book," the young woman sitting next to me said very sincerely. "I bet it would be a bestseller. This whole world is searching for this kind of knowledge, and the world would be a better and more loving place if everyone lived like this. I think the world is ready for a big change. I'm ready to embrace what unfolds in my life and see the miracles appear," I replied, applying Moe's philosophy of life. "Everything always works out the way it's supposed to," I added with a knowing smile. As the plane landed in New York, Kay's directions led me straight to the heart of the financial district and to one of the city's most famous office buildings. It was a prestigious address, home to international corporations and world-class companies. I felt a little overwhelmed as I stepped into the elevator to the 53rd floor, where I would meet my next mentor, whom my father had chosen for me. I had met Father Michael, a saint in the way he viewed and lived his noble life. I had met Moe Jackson, a charming free spirit who taught me about matters of the heart and the importance of being calm and relaxed in every moment of my world. Now, I felt I had absorbed lessons that would help me advance my career and professional direction to an entirely new level. My heart began to beat faster because I knew that the final stage of my adventure was about to begin. The elevator doors opened, and I stepped into the most stylish offices I had ever seen. The view from the floor-to-ceiling windows was stunning. The furnishings were elegant and modern. It was only 7:45 a.m., but handsome men in impeccably tailored suits and graceful women in business attire were already moving briskly with obvious confidence and a highly focused purpose. "Jack, welcome to New York." A sweet but confident voice rang out from the end of a long hallway adorned with Japanese sculptures and Aboriginal artwork. As I turned towards the voice, I saw a strikingly beautiful woman in an expensive black business suit heading straight towards me. Her smooth black hair was neatly tied back, her complexion was radiant, and her face exuded warmth. And her eyes sparkled with laughter, and that smile was pure 1,000-watt charm. As she approached me, I felt a strange power emanating from her. I didn't know why I felt it, only that it was there. It was a feeling I had experienced before when meeting a Hollywood celebrity on the street or a famous athlete at the airport. This woman was the type who made a room stop when she walked in. "I know there aren't many people like her, Jack," she said very politely as she came up and shook my hand. "I'm Tess World, CEO of this brokerage firm. Your father was a dear friend of mine." "Oh," I mumbled, still mesmerized by her appearance and the strange energy she exuded. "Indeed, I miss him very much," she paused, "and I'm very sorry for your loss," she said gently. "Just before he passed away, he told me you would be coming. He arranged everything here for you. My goodness, he must have loved you very much. By the way, how have things been for you?" "Well, the past few months have been wonderful," I replied. "My time in Rome was unexpectedly enriching. To be honest, it changed the way I see the world. And Hawaii was magical too. It all felt like a dream. My entire life has completely transformed in many ways." "That's not so bad, is it, Jack? From what I hear from Kay, it's time for you to be ready for some profound changes," she said with obvious understanding. "Exactly, Tess," I replied somewhat awkwardly, feeling uncomfortable in the luxurious surroundings. I was wearing nothing but shorts, a t-shirt, and my familiar old sandals, with a backpack slung over my shoulder. She smiled. "Just call me Tess. Everyone around here does. Oh, by the way, I'm very glad you're here. I've booked you a room at the Morgan, a truly chic hotel that I love. Don't worry about a thing. I promised Kay I would take good care of you, and I always keep my promises." "So, what will we be focusing on for the next 4 weeks?" I will be your coach to help you understand your work, leadership, and life's assets. I will teach you about the third ultimate question, how to serve greatly, right?" I recalled. "Yes, I will teach you how to live a meaningful life, how to shift from chasing success to creating lasting meaning, how to manifest your heart's desires materially while building spiritual fulfillment, and how to realize your potential at work and become noble. And I will show you the importance of creating value and why the primary purpose in business is to serve others wholeheartedly." "This is exactly what I need to learn at this stage of the game," I replied. Over the past few weeks, I've learned a lot about inner success. Now I feel ready to incorporate some of those concepts into my work. I think I've made some wrong choices in my career path, and I felt very unfulfilled at work. Life is about choices, Jack. As Albert Einstein said, how many people are caught in their daily routines, some paralyzed, some terrified, some indifferent? To have a better life, we must continually choose how we live. That's a great quote. I like the saying, we must continually choose how we live. I suppose that's what all of us need to do as human beings in every moment of our lives. Continually choose good thoughts and actions, I said philosophically, impressing myself with the profundity that had begun to emerge from within me in recent weeks. Exactly right. And the choices we make in each moment ultimately constitute the form of life we create for ourselves, Tess said, pointing to an elegantly framed lithograph in the lounge area. Here's an even better quote from the business philosopher Peter Kistenborn. Some people are more talented than others, but all of us have the ability to be great. Greatness comes from recognizing that our potential is limited only by how you choose, how you use your freedom, your level of determination, your level of persistence. In short, by your attitude, and all of us are completely free in choosing our attitude. That's wonderful, I replied, nodding, and also hoping she didn't notice the grains of sand, happy souvenirs from Hawaii, that my sandals left on the polished wooden floor. Tess continued our discussion. We truly need to continually choose how we live in every moment of the day, she said. We must continually ask ourselves, is what I'm doing right now the best use of my time and talent? Every moment of our lives is a moment of truth. Based on what you choose in each moment, you will either grow as a person or shrink. Who you are right now is nothing more than the sum of the choices you have made from the day you were born until today. Through your choices, you truly determine your destiny. Oh, that's incredibly insightful, Tess, I replied. Choices help determine the thoughts you frequently think, the people around you, the books you read, and the actions you take, shaping who you are and defining your life. You create the life you see before you, no one else. I agree, and I must take full responsibility for it, I said confidently, echoing Father Michael's wisdom. That reminds me of what the writer Rudyard Kipling once wrote. We have 40 million reasons for failure, but not a single excuse. A great saying, Jack. When you deny any responsibility for your life by blaming others, you give your power to those people. And I'm sure you know this well by now. When you blame something that happened to you in the past, or negative things in your life, you give power to those events. Because when you blame others for your misfortunes in life, you are actually saying that they shaped your destiny and that they are the cause of your current circumstances. And that makes no sense. I am the cause of everything in my life, I admitted. I discovered that after what I've learned in the past 8 weeks. I suppose the challenge for me is to realize this, but my responsibility is to balance it with the need to be gentle with myself. I really don't want to start punishing myself for all the mistakes I've made throughout my life's journey. That's a very wise point, it's a balance, but I also need to be very realistic, I added. Exactly, and realism comes from taking responsibility. Circumstances never define a person, Jack, they reveal a person. My view is that I think it's time for you to reclaim ownership of your life. I think you're ready to demand more of yourself, to live by more inspired standards. More inspired standards. Yes, it's time for Jack Valentine to start acting like a perfect person and to become that person. Here, read this, Tess said, handing me what appeared to be a business card. I keep this in my wallet, and I read it every time I open it. It helps me stay focused on what I want my life to achieve. Now read it aloud. One of the saddest experiences that can come to a human being is to become aware that his hair has turned gray and his skin has wrinkled. He is about to end a life that has been of little use, yet the truth is that throughout his life, that person has used only a very small fraction of his being. V.W. Browse. I looked up at Tess in surprise, truly feeling the impact of the words I had just read. Do you see what I'm saying, Jack? Life is truly short. Now is the time to raise your standards of what it means to be a person. Show the world who you truly are, and if not now, then when? That last question truly resonated within me. It was as if my head snapped back, and the force of the question pushed me against the elegant glass wall of the lounge. I had always avoided doing what I needed to do to truly succeed in this world until it was too late. I told myself I would go the extra mile and become a superstar at work when I had more time. I would rebuild my relationships once I got promoted. I would improve my life when I had more money. But that kind of thinking never worked for me at all. It didn't align with my newfound awareness. I really needed to take my life to the highest level. Not next year, not next month, not next week, but right now. My life had been transformed by my visit with Father Michael and my time with Moe. The way I thought, acted, and felt these days confirmed that I was a new person. But I knew there was still more to discover within me, much more. I had to raise my standards and commit to going the full distance. I could no longer shy away from my greatness. I owed it to Father Michael and Moe. I thought of what the philosopher Gratian once said, "The wise man does at once what the fool does finally." Tess interrupted my thoughts. "You know, Jack, it's so easy to fall into the trap of a mediocre life. If we don't take responsibility for our lives and influence them, our lives will find a way to influence us. And then days stretch into weeks, weeks turn into months, and months become years. Before we know it, everything is over." I think it was Nietzsche who challenged us to stop living life as if it were a careless accident. We need to command and lead our lives in new directions. If we want meaningful success, we need to develop better habits and think bigger thoughts. I'm changing a lot of my habits. That's wonderful. Our habits create us, and the consequences of bad habits often don't appear until many years later, so we no longer pay attention to how we conduct our lives. Chickens always come home to roost. Salmon always return to where they were born to lay their eggs. What do you mean? Every action always has consequences. It's always that way. Do good things for yourself and others in your life, and good things will surely come to you. Treat yourself poorly and fall into the trap of bad habits, and you will surely pay the price. No matter how you try to delude yourself, chickens always come home to roost, and salmon always return to where they were born to lay their eggs. Tess continued, pacing in the hallway where we were still standing. Core achievement in career and in life is all about increasing personal responsibility. It's about keeping the promises you make to yourself. It's essential to honor your promises to yourself to live a life of integrity. Greatness in a person is primarily about saying what we will do as people and then doing what we say we will do. This is simple, but most of us forget it in the crazy world we live in. After taking full responsibility for my life and honoring my promises, what else should I think about? Care about the people around you, Jack. That's the most important thing. Genuinely care about everyone, do unexpected things for them, and give them a part of yourself. All of us in the business world need to stop only caring about success or getting rich or being respected. We need to care more about living well. That's the focal point that will lead us to our ideal lives. I feel sad when I see how many people operate in business. It's always, what's in it for me? That's a really short-sighted way to build a career. That's how I used to be at work, I told her, but not anymore. That's not how I'll do things when I get home from here. I also want to be more humane in how I embody the role of an entrepreneur. Excellent. Only when you shed the armor that most of us wear all day and reveal your vulnerability, openness, and care will your life reach paradise. The best leaders expose their weaknesses. They are honest, and people love them for it. Living openly, kindly, and congruently at work is a huge comparative advantage in this day and age. It will actually help you avoid competition and solidify customer loyalty. Really? Absolutely, because no one else does that anymore, she said excitedly. But all good leaders know this. You will be much happier when you learn to live authentically with everyone who enters your life and build special relationships with them. Shed your defensiveness and show genuine care for others. This will be one of the best decisions you ever make. Tess, I've never really lived for the people who came into my life. I feel sad thinking about how I treated others. If you show them that you value them, they will value you. Give them love and care, and they will give you love and care. Ask about their hopes, dreams, aspirations, and they will do the same for you. A great life, both at work and at home, is built on great relationships. You know that. Oh, that makes so much sense. Did you know that recent scientific evidence suggests that the electromagnetic field generated by the human heart is actually 5,000 times stronger than the electromagnetic field generated by the human brain. Oh, I didn't know that, I replied, amazed by this brilliant woman's knowledge. This is interpreted by scientific evidence to mean that others can feel that electromagnetic field from 5 to 10 steps away from you. Do you understand how important this finding is? Others can feel if you care about them or not. Therefore, they can truly know if your heart cares about them the most. Oh, that's incredible. Exactly. That means no matter how clever you think you are, you can't fake caring. You can say what you want, but unless you genuinely help your customers and make their lives better, they won't do business with you. They will feel that you are not sincere. Success in business comes from trust, Jack. People need to believe that you want to help them. If there's trust, your services will sell themselves. Is trust really that important? I asked. I mean, I've heard that things like product quality, service levels, and innovation are what really make for business success. Trust is the starting point of everything. People do business with people they trust. God forbid, suppose you had a stroke, would you go to a surgeon you trust completely or a very famous but untrustworthy doctor? I'd go to the one I trust as long as I felt they did good work. Of course, Tess said. Trust is the absolute advantage that surgeon has, and it's the foundation of all strong business relationships. Without trust, your prospective clients won't buy from you. Your associates won't listen to you, and your family and friends will drift away from you. Trust is key. Indeed it is, Jack. Without it, your relationships are nothing more than the shell of what they truly are. And you maintain a trust account with everyone in your life. Every time you interact with someone, you either deposit money into that account or withdraw from it. Every time you fully fulfill a commitment, every time you take a minute to say thank you, every time you show genuine care for someone, and every time you sincerely help others, those are deposits you add to your fund. And every time I put myself first, that's a withdrawal right. Yes, every time you fail to do what you say you will do, neglect to return a phone call, speak ill of someone behind their back, or fail to deliver a high-quality product, you are making a withdrawal. Deposits deepen relationships while daily withdrawals erode them. And the interesting thing is, when you have a lot of money invested in that trust account, you can make very small withdrawals without it mattering at all. Like I have credit or overdraft insurance, Tess said with a gentle smile. And it works like this in your personal life. Suppose you're dating a special woman. You always pick her up on time for dates. You always call her when you say you will. You show her care and attention. And you help her when she asks for help. In other words, you have good credit in that trust account. So if you have to cancel 1 or 2 dates because an emergency arises at work, what do you think her reaction will be? She'll still be fine. I think she'll be understanding if an emergency comes up. Exactly. Thanks to all the deposits you've made. Let's change the scenario. Suppose you've set a precedent for missing dates. You never call her when you promise to, and you forget a few important anniversaries. I get the picture. I've overdrawn too many times. Yes. Now one day you call her and tell her you need to cancel a few upcoming dates because of some work crisis. What do you think her reaction will be? She probably wouldn't be impressed. In fact, if she took it hard, she might even give up and end the relationship. You understand. So do you see that all of us need to make regular deposits into the trust accounts of everyone we have relationships with? Not just in our business lives, but in our personal lives too. Yes, I see. And a great way to do that is to be caring and kind, right? Precisely. Proper care and genuine kindness are especially powerful in a business environment where people are too busy to remember how to treat each other well. I look for every opportunity to tell and show my colleagues that I love them. You tell your colleagues you love them. Yes, and I genuinely do. I always think of them. These people have dedicated the best years of their lives to helping me build this company. I value them for that. Their success is my success, and their failure is my failure. Then Tess clasped her hands together in the traditional Indian greeting posture. As she stood in the middle of the reception area, impeccably dressed employees still walked by, and I could clearly see the New York skyline through the large windows. Tess's posture seemed out of place with her surroundings, so I asked her what she was doing. Well, I learned this when I took a business trip to Southeast Asia a few years ago. This is how people in India greet each other. she said, clasping her hands together. Namaste, what does it mean? It means, I honor the best and highest in you. Isn't that a wonderful way to greet someone, Jack? Can you imagine how you would feel about your life and how others would feel about you if every time you met someone, you honored the best and highest in them? Now, I'm not saying you need to perform this ritual, but you can easily express that sentiment silently every time someone crosses your path. As science has confirmed, at a very deep, invisible level, people feel the good will you project towards them, and this makes them treat you in a way that reflects the best within themselves. This works wonders. I replied, absorbing what these business masters were telling me about managing an extraordinary career life. So when you meet someone, just take a second and remind yourself to appreciate the good within them. Always uplift their value and always see them as great individuals. That will make a profound difference in how they treat you in return, and you will feel more fulfilled at work and in your entire life. You know, when I walk past my colleagues here, I always silently praise how wonderful they are, and that makes a world of difference in our connection. A young, fashionably dressed receptionist stepped in. Tess, you have a very important call from Geneva on line 1. I know you asked not to be disturbed while meeting Mr. Valentine, but it might be urgent. It's okay, Summer, I'll take the call in my office, Tess replied kindly. Jack, we're closing a big deal and things are a little hectic. Give me 15 minutes and I'll be right back. In the meantime, relax and make yourself comfortable. Summer here will bring you a fresh orange juice if you'd like. I'm very sorry. As Tess walked down the hallway, I sat down to collect my thoughts. My eyes happened to fall on a book titled Aphorisms of Wisdom. It was a treasure trove of inspiring quotes compiled by the great Russian novelist Leo Tolstoy. I opened the book and read the first quote that caught my eye. Although it was a simple saying, it held great meaning for me. Life is very short. Don't forget the most important things in life. Live for others and do good things for them. Chapter 12, Love is a Business Tool. Keep your gold and silver, but give us wisdom. Arabic proverb. Jack, a person can only be in one of two states at any given moment, fear or love. Tess told me when she returned from her business call. Moe taught me that in Hawaii, I replied. I suppose he would. Moe is an incredibly wise man. Trust what he teaches you. I was surprised. You know Moe. Tess nodded. He's a wonderful friend of mine. By the way, it's true that at any moment, you are either living in fear or living in love. And I choose not to live my life in fear because it limits me and the life I'm dedicated to creating. Every moment of every day, my conscious choice is love, and that is one of the deepest secrets to my success. Love as a business strategy, an amazing tool. Tess, an amazing tool. You know, Jack, you can have everything you want from life when you focus on helping those around you get everything they want from life. I like that. My life changed when I made a simple decision and set a new standard for myself, to become the most thoughtful person I know. Try setting that inspiring standard for yourself and see what happens. It's the only thing in my life that I apply without exception. No matter what interferes, I will always prioritize that value above all else. I am very focused on becoming the most thoughtful person I know. It's almost as if I've inscribed it on my heart. Tess took a deep breath and continued. This company generated over $1 billion in revenue last year. But what makes me even happier is seeing the success of the men and women who make up this company. As they grow through the work they do, I also grow as a person. Seeing my employees become leaders and happy individuals makes me happier than anything else. What truly inspires me is seeing our company culture develop into a place where people are truly number one, a safe workplace where everyone can be themselves. I am more satisfied with the quality of my relationships with employees, clients, and suppliers than with the amount of cash in my bank account. You certainly operate by a very different set of business standards, I remarked with genuine appreciation. I know, Tess replied. Then she took a golden box from her vest pocket and opened it. Here, she said, handing me a card. Read this quote. Tess's business card was embossed with silver lettering. Just looking at it, I knew it was expensive. Her name appeared at the top, and below it was her title. It was written like this, CLO. What does CLO mean, Tess? I thought it was CEO, I wondered. CLO stands for Chief Love Officer, she said and laughed. Of course, I only use this type of card in special situations. I have regular business cards in the office. But the reality is, here at this company, I see my role as Chief Love Officer. I'm here to show my team that I care about and love them. Very unique, that's all I can say. I know. Perhaps that's why I'm the happiest person I know in a sector where most top senior management teams are unhappy, unfulfilled, and empty. Do you know that one of the most effective prescriptions psychologists give to business leaders who come to them stressed is a daily dose of friendship? No, are you serious? Yes, Jack. Most of these leaders live their lives in ivory towers. They spend their time living alone. And as a result, the very human need that all of us have for a connection with a community is not being met. So psychologists tell them to go out and make friends, right? Almost. They tell leaders to go out and make friends with others, care about the well-being of others, laugh and tell stories with the people they work and live with, and open their hearts to others. And it works. It's all written about in a very interesting article titled The Human Moment at Work that appeared in the Harvard Business Review. That's great, Tess, and so simple to implement. Exactly. So for the good of your career, first and foremost, treat everyone genuinely. Care more about deepening relationships than worrying about sales, and sales will automatically come. Great success in business is truly about human connections. What exactly are human connections? They are the relationships that bind us, human to human. Human connections emerge when we truly strive to serve others and make a difference in their lives. When we learn to communicate from the heart, speak our truth, and genuinely be empathetic listeners, understanding the people we are listening to with an effort to comprehend them. If you want to advance your career and become a leader, communication is very important. Very interesting, Tess. One of the new goals I've set for myself is to become a good communicator. I really want to make a special effort to show people that I love and understand them. I know this will help me in my career. Yes, that's the right thing to do. As you know, we don't last long on this planet. Why not make our time here worthwhile by making those around us happy? Be good at conversation. What do you mean by that? One of the most important lessons I've learned on my life's journey is that a great life is nothing more than a series of great conversations. Business success comes from having deep conversations with our colleagues, clients, and even prospective clients. If we stop engaging in these conversations, we will fail in business. Family success comes from having meaningful conversations with our partners and children. Losing these conversations, we will lose our families and inner success. Success as a person involves a continuous dialogue with our own highest self. Lose that dialogue, and you will lose yourself. What a wonderful insight. Thank you, Jack. Too many people in our world today are divorcing themselves. They're too busy chasing fame and accolades to bother having a deep inner dialogue with themselves. You know, one of the most important things any leader can do is to deepen themselves. The deeper you are, the more aware you will be of what the journey of life is. And the more knowledgeable you become, the more you will realize that success is about making a difference in the world. That brings up another important point, Tess added. If you wish to manifest wealth in life and success in your career, you need to become a value creator. What does that mean? Super successful people in life spend their time focusing on creating and building value, not making money. They seek to enrich others, and they live to improve the lives of the many who have the privilege of doing business with them. They take themselves out of the equation and exist for others in many ways. The paradox is that they are the most successful and wealthy people themselves. Really? I asked. Exactly. To have more in this world, you must give more to others. That's just one of the eternal laws of life. I've heard a lot about those laws. Well, that's great, Tess smiled. Always ask yourself the questions, how do I add value to this person? And how can I serve the world? You will be rewarded with extreme abundance. Martin Luther King Jr. made that clear when he said, the most persistent and urgent question of life is, what are you doing for others? Those are powerful words, I remarked. Tess began to walk down the long hallway. Jack, she said, follow me. Tess led me into a large room with polished wooden floors and an array of leather armchairs arranged around glass tables. On the walls were shelves filled with books. I scanned the titles. The Art of Living by Epictetus, Asterisk Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. There was even a strange little book titled The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, which made me smile. "This is our company's study room," Tess said as she poured herself a cup of herbal tea. "Would you like some? It tastes wonderful with bergamot." "Yes, I would," I replied. "By the way," she continued, "this room is where we all come to think. The most successful people in business spend a lot of time reflecting, and one of the things they think about most is how they can add value to the people they serve. You know, most people get this wrong," Tess remarked. "Is that so?" I asked. "Yes, the purpose of life is not to be happy. That's one of the most selfish ways one can imagine living, and it's the root of many problems in the world today. This global community will change if we stop thinking about our personal happiness and start thinking about our collective service. In other words, the world will change if we start becoming excessive, not with being happier, but with being more valuable. To reach the next level of your life, Jack, the question isn't, how can I have more? The real question should be, how can I express more? Stop wishing that life were easier and wish that you were better, more thoughtful, and kinder. Stop wishing for fewer problems and wish for greater wisdom. You know, happiness is a byproduct, and it comes to those who don't seek it." "That's a paradox, isn't it?" I remarked. "Yes, it is in many ways. I truly think that the more we seek happiness and success, the further it runs from us. Happiness and success are unintended but inevitable byproducts of a life devoted to creating value for others. Do that, and everything else will fall into place exactly as it should. So most businesses today are wrong. The goal isn't to make money, but to create meaning," Tess interjected. "The fundamental goal of business is to help the people you serve find greater meaning, joy, and success in their lives through the products and services you offer them. Of course, making money is very important, but it's not the fundamental driver if you're seeking true success. Businesses that do well focus on profit. Businesses that succeed focus on their higher purpose, creating great results for their customers and making a difference in their lives." This is the first time I've ever heard anything like this. Look, I'm in business to make money, don't misunderstand me. I'm not an idealist who knows nothing about how the real world works. I have an MBA from Harvard Business School and a PhD from Stanford. I've spent most of my adult life here on Wall Street, and I play the business game at the highest level. Money buys freedom to some extent, I know that. The best thing you can do to help the poor in this world is to ensure that you are not one of them. And honestly, I personally make tons of money, millions and millions, for sure. You reach a point where you literally don't know how much money you have, then it's no longer an issue. I can have anything I want, whenever I like. But for me, money is just a means to grasp a scorecard. To grasp what? The amount of value I create. I find that the more value I create in this world, the more money seems to flow into my life. Money no longer has intrinsic value, does it? I mused. I suppose you're right, it's just paper. Exactly. All money is simply a symbol of an exchange of value. For me, it only has value when I distribute my value. For me, it's just a benchmark, nothing more, nothing less. So what I mean is this: money is very important, but it's absolutely not my main motivation. Money is not what gets me out of bed at 5:00 a.m., nor is it what drives me to innovate and be the best in the world at everything I do. I'd rather be paid in spiritual rewards than monetary rewards because they make me feel better about myself. I know my meaning doesn't come from money, but from service. I live to help others. That's what truly drives me. A sense of mission and meaning, not money and material rewards. And that's where many other companies go wrong. They focus more on accumulating assets than on helping others realize their dreams. Then Tess led me to her office. It was a very elegant room, furnished in a modern minimalist style. The view overlooked the entire city. Photos of her husband and 3 children hung everywhere. "Jack, try to live by Woodrow Wilson's words. You are not here merely to make a living. You are here to enrich the world, and you impoverish yourself if you forget that errand." Those are profound words. And when you serve others, do so without expecting reward. If you help others at work, whether it's helping a colleague learn a new computer process or serving a client by astounding them with your willingness to assert that your product is exactly what they need, do it with the pure joy of giving. Giving with the intention of receiving is not truly giving. It's trading, and people can feel that. Give to truly help and act as a servant leader. That's how you will achieve greatness. What does a servant leader mean? The best leaders are servant leaders. All they care about is serving their constituents. Their lives reflect a sense of mission. That's what drives them and fuels their days. Oh, that's an interesting way to live, I said, excited. Seek a mission to which you can dedicate yourself and then spend all your time fulfilling that mission. Exactly, Tess. Think about Mahatma Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, and Mother Teresa, as well as the greatest religious leaders in history. All were servant leaders, and all were devoted to a cause greater than themselves, a mission. And this mission needs to serve others, right, Tess? It does, but you don't have to resolve to transform the world to live with a sense of mission. Your requirement could simply be to serve your clients at work with a loving, moderate attitude and a strong commitment to creating value in their work. That purpose is no less noble than changing the world. Even if your job is sweeping the streets or picking up trash, you still have the choice to work with a sense of mission and a code of service. See it as an opportunity to make the community a better place. There are no lowly jobs. Mahatma Gandhi made this clear when he remarked, "It is not what you do that is important, but how you do it. Do it to the best of your ability. Give it your attention and care as you would give to what you consider most important. It is these small things that define you." That's a great point, and it was Mother Teresa who said, "Don't let anyone come to you without leaving happier and better." Such great words. I also like William H. Channing's words, who said, "To live a lifetime and only once. Therefore, if there be any kindness I can show, or any good thing I can do to any fellow being, let me do it now and not defer or neglect it, for I shall not pass this way again." Once you live by this philosophy, your life will change greatly for the better. I promise you this, Tess said passionately. That's one of the reasons I love my job, she continued. I can fulfill one of the deepest needs of every human being through the way I work. What is that? The need for self-transcendence. All of us have a strong desire within us, at a fundamental level, to make a difference in the world. I believe we are all programmed to contribute to the world in our own way. It's in our genetic nature. For some, that means leading a nation to freedom and impacting the lives of millions. For others, it's sweeping the streets or working at the checkout counter of a local convenience store. As I said, no goal is inherently better or more worthy of our esteem than another if it is done with all our heart and sense of duty. As the thinker John Ruskin put it, the weakest among us has a talent, however humble, which, if properly used, will be a gift to his own species. I feel those words right in my heart, I said very sincerely. That's because those words speak to the best within you. The truth of these words resonates with the inner regions of your understanding. The deepest need of the human heart, when you access it, is the need to live for something greater than ourselves. You may not realize it now. You may find it difficult to hear because your dream is to make tons of money and buy a house in California. Or you may dismiss this point in a world focused solely on coming out on top. But I have to tell you that the more you access the truth of life's meaning, and the more you delve into your natural wisdom, the more unavoidable that truth will become. A perfect life is created when you serve perfectly. The more internally complete you become as a person, the clearer you will see the world in a very different way. You will not be caught up in the need to make a lot of money for others to respect you. You will be so focused on your higher mission that your self-esteem will overshadow everything else. All of us are leaders on this earth. That is our privilege. Then Tess pointed to a quote carved directly into the surface of her desk by a skilled artisan. "Read this quote," she said. "It helps me focus every morning. Sometimes I read these words and then close my eyes to feel them being drawn into my heart." That's a very good contemplative practice, and it creates a wonderful impression on how I live. The words are as follows: "Happiness comes to you in life commensurate with the degree to which you help the world." Chapter 13, The True Path to Success. Death is not the greatest loss in life. The greatest loss is what dies inside us while we are still alive. Norman Cousins. As we sat down on a worn leather couch in her office, Tess said, "It doesn't matter where you end your career, but the journey you took to get there is what makes you who you are. The true reward of a worthwhile life is not what you accumulate at the end of your path, but what you become once you get there." Very interesting, I remarked. Your life's process is the key to your life, not where you ultimately rest at the end of each day. True success is not about achieving your goals. It's about the personal transformations and inner changes in consciousness that occur as a result of moving towards your goals. Talent is not about making that goal happen, but what you achieve for that specific goal is what makes you who you are. And honestly, I believe there are only two reasons to be in business. I waited for her to continue. First, as I mentioned, to create value for others and to bring about even greater good. And second, to grow as a person, to realize our true selves, and in doing so, to make peace with ourselves. She paused. When we finally discover who we truly are, we make peace with ourselves. Yes, this is the best way to live an abundant and peaceful life. That makes a lot of sense, Tess. Perhaps many of our human struggles occur because the deepest part of us knows that we are betraying ourselves by not living our lives to our highest potential. Exactly so. We lose a lot of self-respect when we don't actualize our highest human potential. We think it takes a lot of energy to do the inner work of improvement needed to live our best lives, both at work and at home. The truth is, living mediocrity actually costs more energy. I agree with that. There's no doubt that denying your dreams and neglecting the path of your best life is extremely draining. Not living true to yourself consumes a lot of energy. All right, I've heard about your starting point. I find this conversation very inspiring, Tess. I truly see the importance of loving others and creating human connections. I will commit right here and now to becoming someone who lives more for others. And I also promise you that I will start to see myself as a value creator. I will build my career not based on what I can get from others, but on what makes me feel better about my career. I will also start living at a much higher level. That's excellent, she replied, visibly pleased with my words. But let me challenge the idea of living for others for a moment. I'm sure you'll agree that there are some truly cruel and despicable people out there. I agree that there are some people out there who behave cruelly and despicable. Yes, I understand the distinction now. But when you encounter such people, surely you can't always be kind. I always choose to be kind, Jack. That's the standard by which I live my life, and it works for me. But in this is a very important point: being kind doesn't mean being weak. A wise person always knows how to combine love with courage. Oh, yes, that's the principle I live by. Sometimes situations dictate that I need to express my love through compassion, and sometimes they require me to be courageous. People often make the mistake of believing that living lovingly means you have to give in to people and let them walk all over you. That's not it. I love myself enough that I would never let that happen. If someone crosses my boundaries, I will let them know in a kind but firm way. I speak in a way that doesn't offend them, but lets them know that I will not tolerate being treated poorly. And so I combine love with courage. You know, Jack, we teach people how to treat us. We do. Absolutely. If someone in your life treats you badly, without the respect you deserve, then somehow I can assure you that you have allowed that to happen. Perhaps when they were first rude to you, you failed to set a boundary and didn't tell them that it was unacceptable. And that failure taught them that they could continue their disrespectful behavior towards you. So every person in my life is taught how to treat me by how I let them treat me. That's right. You need to ensure you are treated with courtesy, care, and love, and that is what you will receive. Allow people to walk all over you, and you yourself will teach them that technique and cause them to maintain this low standard. I understand, I thought for a moment. And what about competition? You work in one of the most competitive fields in the world, financial services, and you are clearly very successful. How can a very kind person thrive in our world? Can I truly succeed if I don't try to win? In fact, if you only try to win, I can assure you that you will not succeed at all, Tess said, laughing. As CEO of this organization, I have to think about market share and always keep an eye on the competition. That's a necessity in the economy we operate in. But many years ago, after a year-long sabbatical traveling the world with my family, I began to broaden the lens through which I viewed the world. My worldview changed dramatically during that self-imposed journey. She smiled. Jack, you've heard some of the organizational principles I built my new life upon. I'll share another one with you that relates to your question about competition. For you to win, no one needs to lose. Nowadays, that's a difficult concept for many of us in the business world to grasp. After all, even as children, we were trained to compete for scarce resources. We were taught to always be the best in our class and encouraged to be leaders in the sports we participated in. We are constantly compared to others who we are told are better, smarter, and faster than us. What this does is create a scarcity mindset, and we begin to believe that the world is indeed a place of limited resources. If we don't graduate at the top of our class, we won't succeed in our careers. If we don't win in sports, we'll never taste victory. Now this is a mistaken belief. Nothing can surpass the truth. The philosopher Gratian made this clear when he remarked, "Be not a drop of water, but become the ocean." Oh, that sends shivers down my spine. Tess continued, and this mistaken belief gives rise to a mindset of fear. The fear that this world isn't big enough for all of us to succeed, to surpass our wildest expectations. The fear that we will lose what we've struggled to accumulate. The fear that we don't deserve to keep what we have. And this fear creates an interesting situation. The more we fear that we will lose if we help others win, the less we actually receive. The more we try to hoard, the more we push abundance away from us.